once I go live, I got to push it out to the group. So let me see when it pulls up on my page. Okay, so we're live. I don't know who is seeing this. This is Zeke. Uh, Zeke from
Creatively innovative.
Creatively Innovative. There we go. I have the live going on right now on our page. Let me share it right now to the group. So Christmas Light Contractors. We are live with Zeke. Ask your questions. Okay, I should have had that already before I jumped on. So if you're not watching the presidential election, or no, the debate or something, I think there's something
An
going on right
interview
now.
or something.
Yeah, and then we're gonna push it out to Vibrant Nights, and then we'll push it out to my own page. Yeah, I'm just shooting it. Okay, there we go.
My wall now as well. It won't let me
Okay.
share on that, but we're good.
Now TikTok, they you cannot do a live on TikTok unless you're on TikTok alone. So are you on TikTok too much?
I am, but I don't actually use it like myself. Like I have my business on there. So my business is on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I think we have Pinterest too, just because it was easy to
Well,
set up.
so I mean like in my early days, I actually tried to used to do lead gen pages and then I give them the contract. In fact, with Christmas lights, I had like 4 or 5 of the top listings in my city. So people would call and say that they wanted an estimate, and then they would call. It's like, well, somehow it seems like all the estimates lead back to you. So I was stupid. I should have just raised my prices. But what I would do is I would hoard all the leads, and then I would give them to some of my friends and ask them to give me a percentage if they landed the job. But I've stopped doing that. I mostly just bid my jobs higher. But that was back in the days when SEO was very easy, and you could just literally buy the exact domain and then put your H1 tags and your H2 tags as the keywords.
So it's funny you say that. So in my town of Spearfish, we have 12,000 people. There's no one that does Christmas lights in my area directly, like has a website, has anything. There's people an hour away. So a friend of mine comes to me that does lawn care, and he's like, hey, I need to do some work, in the wintertime. I was like, let's get you into Christmas lights. So I took one of my landing pages that I usually use for Google Ads. I made sure the H1 was set up right, made sure all the H2s were set up, made sure I put Spearfish all the way through it. I then set up the local schema markup where I said, hey, this business operates off of this Google My Business. It wasn't even the same website address. It was literally just off of the lawn care services. So I just said it was. I then indexed it, and 2 hours later, I had his page ranked in Spearfish for Christmas light installation.
Is it still ranked right now? Like if
Oh
you
yeah,
searched it? Okay.
oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to probably hire you to do my soft wash website again next year. So I lost my listing. It was ranked really good for a
Oh
lot of
no.
years. And then I lost my phone number, but I don't really do power washing anymore. So I mean, honestly, when I'm getting calls for power washing, it's kind of like annoying because I don't want to do it anymore. So that's that for the last, but now that I'm trying to move to Connecticut, like I need
Yeah.
to have stable workers year round. So I try to get back into
Mm.
power washing this year, and I dumped all my money into Facebook ads, and I pretty much spent as much money on ads as I did making the work. So because I didn't realize my website I had no idea how much jobs I was getting through my website. I used to have one of the top ranked websites in Connecticut for roof cleaning, and it's just not there anymore. So Facebook is very competitive. So I highly recommend, if you guys don't know Zeke, he is probably the expert in the space, especially for SEO, anything Google related. I think you do some Facebook ads, but it's specialty.
No. Yeah, we stick to just Google Ads and SEO, then we refer out anything that has to do with Facebook.
Do you
Just
mostly,
stay focused.
so do you still refer them mostly to Ashley?
I actually do Gage Lake.
Oh, really? Because I really like Gage Lake too. I've been trying to
Am I
send
allowed
people.
to say that on here? I was like, I don't even know.
Yeah, I like him because I know that he blows people up. So that's like, so the whole point of Christmas Light Contractors, we're trying to make people successful. So
Yeah.
sometimes we recommend people that we're working with. Sometimes they're not. I actually almost hired Gage Lake this year, but I already went all in with Haibu. I know you're making fun of them, but Haibu has built my website and they got it ranked like very rapidly. And I'm doing pretty well. I'm already getting leads from them, and I'm not paying for any AdWords or anything. So
For Christmas lights.
for Christmas lights, yeah.
The Christmas lights, honestly, like here's a piece of advice for anyone watching is make sure your title tags are set up for Christmas light installation in your city. And make sure your content is about that as well. I just saw a few websites where a lot of people are doing these knockoff websites, and like the titles on them, they're missing the city, they're missing the right keywords. Like they're saying Christmas lighting, holiday lighting. They're not even saying installation. They're missing a lot of the keywords, and honestly, you need that on your page about 7 to 8 times. It's about one title for every 100 words, and then in each paragraph, you also need some keyword in there. If you have that and you're not trying to rank for Cincinnati or Detroit or something big, but you try to rank for a smaller keyword, reality is you can rank pretty quickly. Like give it 2 or 3 days for that one small city. Like it's not too terribly long as the content structure is set up right.
So anyone that's coming late to this, if you don't know who Zeke is, a lot of guys are new. A lot of people are going to be watching this later. Zeke is the main guy in the space for SEO for the Christmas light industry. So I know there's other people out there to do SEO, but he actually understands this industry. So he's a niche specific. So he has it pretty much mastered for SEO. And but actually, I would recommend him even more for AdWords. Like
You're gonna go faster with that.
Yeah, you're gonna at this point in the year, do you think it's possible to get a website up with SEO and getting a good
We did it 2 weeks ago. There was a guy that came to us, and here's what I would suggest. It depends on what you're doing. This guy came to us with 6 years of his website, and it was just terrible. Of like, he knows it. He came to me and he was like, "Hey, what do you think?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's not very good." And I was like, "Look, most people would start SEO in January. They don't. They wait till like the last minute, and then they're like, 'Oh, I started too late.'" But most people would be in January. But if you have a site that's been around for even like 3 years, and the site, it needed to be updated. So we got it from 180 sites, got a brand new website from 180 sites. My team wrote the content, and my team made the city pages, and they started doing backlinks like day one when he signed up at the end of August. 2 weeks later, the website launched. All the city pages were indexed because we can index things within about 2 hours, the way we do it. And he had rankings within 24 hours. So 24 hours later, we had 17 keywords on page one with about, I think it was 3 in the top 3, then 14 in the top, 4 to 10. And that was inside a really large metro. So could you do it right now? It depends on how long your website's been around, how good your website is, the structure, things like that as well.
But as far as like Google, like I would probably hire you right now to build a website for me in Connecticut, but I don't have electrical bills, and my business is not registered is Christmas light. No, it is. It's registered already here with the state as Christmas light contractor, but that's not what I do my install business under. So I don't know if Google would allow me to have a
So
listing.
here's what I advise. Like my lawn care guy, he just created Google My Business without any of that ready to go. Like he had it. I think he's waiting for the EIN to come in the mail right now. But he created Google My Business for his lawn care business. He went ahead and filled out his GMB, and he said it was just pending. And I was like, well, let's give me access to it and let's see what I can do. And I looked at it, and he didn't have anything filled out. Like nothing was filled out at all. And his website wasn't live. So if you are going to start a brand new business and a Google My Business, what I suggest is you have your website live. Make sure you have your phone number different than, say, a washing business, landscape business, things like that. Make sure the Google My Business is completely different or unique. Have that ready, and then go ahead and just fill everything out and create the profile. But just make sure all that stuff is live. And then if they ask for a video verification, you're going to want to make sure you take an address from not address, a video from the street corner, which is your, basically it's saying where you're located. You're then going to drive to your house, pull into the driveway, go into the front door with the key. You're then going to show Christmas lights, yard signs, and business cards. And then you're going to go to your computer in your office and show a CRM. Google is actually not caring too much about sensitive information. Like they don't want that. And so I've actually found that you can potentially get a Google My Business set up as long as you show all of that stuff. The only time you have to have the LLC and EIN is if it gets suspended or they really can't verify you from a video verification, but they prefer the video verification. So whatever you do, just make sure you start at that street corner. It's like for me, that's a half-mile away. I have no street corners within a half-mile. So I'd have to start there. I'd probably drive it, come to my house, then walk in the front door, show that I have access to it. And then
They wouldn't care that they wouldn't care you're running a business out of your house, because I'm sure most guys in
it
the
has to
street
be service area. You need to check that box that says do not show this address to the public.
Okay, because if they see it's a house, they'll flag it if they
Right away,
service it.
yeah. So they don't care as long as service area. But we had a guy that was a Christmas light guy that it took us 3 months to get full access from it. We weren't really sure what was going on with it. And what it was is every time we did the video verification, they didn't like that it didn't show the street corner and it didn't show enough equipment. And then one time the guy got on a call with Google and the guy's like, well, you're not showing us a business card or yard sign, so how can we believe you? So they were actually more caring about a like sign and business cards that show you're legit, and they can then match that email address or phone number back to whatever your GMB is located.
So,
Once they had that, it went live.
so I have a GMB that they removed just like 2 months ago. It was ranking #1 in Connecticut for Christmas lights.
Yep.
It's gone, but that was tied to an address that I don't have access to anymore. But it's only about 5 miles from me, and that website got hacked also. But
Yeah.
I was like, well, fine. Do you think you could somehow get that restored, or probably not? I
Oh, yeah,
still got it. Has tons of reviews.
yeah. So you change the website, make sure the phone number is live and doesn't match any other business you have, and then make sure you have the address. All I would have to do is get a utility bill, so a phone bill. So I need a phone bill that says whatever your name is at that new address, and then we could get it back.
Well, so everything's registered to my house, so that would be registered right here. I have no business right now registered to my house in GMB because they all have gotten taken down. My soft wash one, my power wash, and they all, or my Christmas light, they all got taken down. So, but the Christmas light was registered to a neighboring city, a place I used to have access to. But I do have bills for Christmas light contracts. Do you think that would be enough to verify it to my so
As long as it's utility, so it needs to be phone, electric, gas. It has to be utility, and it just has to say Christmas light contractors and the address, and it has to match. That's all Google's looking for, is that
for utility.
Yeah.
Okay, because my warehouse got shut down so we have a warehouse now that we ship out of in Connecticut, and Google struck it down like right away. And then I just showed them the state registration, my business, and they reinstated it almost instantly.
State registration is a great one too. So it's state or utility bill.
Okay, but it's got to be the exact name. So
exact name and the address has to be perfect on there. Yep.
Okay, so the reason I'm talking about this is because how important is a GMB for SEO? Is that if you just had a website and you didn't have GMB?
We ranked a guy this year. So he started in March and he didn't have his GMB, the one I just talked about, where he struggled with that GMB up. It took us 4 months. So March, April, May, and middle of June, we had the rankings start getting in the top 3. And then 2 weeks later, his GMB went live, and then we grabbed like 10 spots. Now we hold about 25 keywords in the top spots, but most of our clients, we track 50 keywords. We'll get all 50 keywords within about 6 months on the first page of those keywords in that location. I hate to say first page of Google, because first page of Google is blank. It's just google.com. First page really depends on location, longitude, latitude, the actual keyword. The end of the day, though, when it comes to SEO, it really matters about the leads, because we have someone that's like, oh, my rankings went down, and it's like, it can bobble around. September, it bobbles around a ton, and then it moves back up. The reason why it bobbles around is a lot of ads start coming on, so we start seeing it bobble around. There's more traffic going different places. But last year, September, we saw a lot of movement, and then October, it levels out again. But at the end of the day, you're looking at year-over-year growth. So you got to have phone call tracking and form tracking set up to track that. You're going to track the GMB calls, and then you're also going to track the website. I would say GMB calls, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I want to say it's at least 30 to 50% of calls come from a GMB. So it's actually pretty vital that you do Christmas light GMB and then your other business completely separate, and have separate phone numbers, separate websites, because we see guys do 4 to 5 times more leads. I'll give an example. All my guys that do SEO with me do over 200 leads organically within 1 year. that do SEO with us. And so if you don't do it, you do it with washing or with landscaping, you're not going to get that many leads for Christmas lights. It's just the topical relevancy of that site just isn't there.
So like I'm probably going to hire you to do my AdWords, I'm pretty sure. But so since I don't have a GMB, that
It
would
doesn't matter for Christmas light ads. It matters for
really,
SEO.
but I know when you've run ads for me before, like I know my map, they would call straight from the map because the map's part of the ad, but that wouldn't be in the ad anymore. Would it?
So we have a little bit of a conundrum with that one because what's happening is we're putting the call tracking on the GMB, and no matter where the call is coming from, it's starting to trigger my ad extensions. We just had this problem where a guy had us have his washing business with his Christmas lights, and the lady called and he's answering it because it's going to his call tracking number for Christmas lights, and he answered it with his wash or his Christmas light answering name, and she was like, "Oh, I called the washing business," and so it was kind of weird there that like that happened. So we just took it off. So if you have a washing business that you're connecting to it, our team's just not connecting it anymore. We're just like,
Do you
Christmas
see?
lights, it doesn't
Do,
matter.
do you see lead costs go up if you don't have a GMB connected to your AdWords campaign?
No, honestly, ad extension calls is less than 5%. We've seen some at 10%. Almost all calls come from the website. It's not coming from directly from the ad or the GMB. The reason is this industry, it's rapport based and it's form based. 70% of all leads are all forms.
Okay,
It's
so
not.
like I don't if I hire you, which I'm pretty certain I'm going to, but my website right now in Indiana does pretty well, but I have I have my jobber form on my lead page. I don't want to re-enter everything into jobber. Can you
Zapier.
can
We
you
pay
do
for
that?
Zapier for all our clients. So basically, we would set up our landing page and they fill out a form, and then Zapier is then going to zap it over to Jobber. Or like I would say, 50% of our clients use Jobber, and it creates a client and a quote request. So it starts that, and then we take the information and we do one more zap step because there is a little bit of a glitch with Jobber, and we take all their message information and we put it in as what just got asked to us last week. It's something where it's like an extra there's an extra blank in Jobber when that quote request comes in, and we can send all that information over.
Okay, yeah, because I really because I mean when you're getting a whole bunch of leads, it's so much easier to have it straight
Oh
in
yeah.
jobber.
I would
Okay.
say only about 25% of our clients don't zap it into a CRM. Like we go to the only one we can't do is Tinsel. We can do Marcate, we can do the customer factor, Jobber, Service Monster, any of those we can zap into. And if you're not sure, just Google Zapier and then you're to CRM and we'll find it.
Well, this is new because I haven't used your service I think in two years. I used to run ads with you when I was still trying to grow my power washing. But you weren't doing that back then, at least at my.
No, 2 years ago is when we started because we noticed 180 Sites was doing it already for all their clients. Now here's a catch with Jobber though. I'm going to point that out. So when we started taking over started doing Jobber connections for our clients, we learned that it broke their website connection. So Jobber, there's a little glitch in it where whoever creates the Zapier connection between Jobber and just something in Zapier. So it's Jobber to Zapier. Only one person can do it.
Okay.
So if you have it on your website, we need to take control of that as well. So we need to go into your website, set up a webhook, and do that. And then we also will do your Google ads. We have to put it all in one account. Otherwise, it gets messed up. So the only other option we suggest to people that have Jobber that want to do more connections on their own, we have people that do their own Jobber or own Zapier, is we make you a Google Sheet. And so it comes from our ads, and then we connect to Jobber as well, and then we connect it to a sheet. You then take that sheet and then you connect it to whatever else you want with your Zapier connection. So we have some clients that do all sorts of zaps to automate things. We've got clients that use my service robot with Go High Level, and so you can just keep connecting it even with multiple Zapier accounts.
Wow. Well, I have two different jobbers, so maybe I'll let you have access to one of them. So
Yep. So we just
I'm
we just need one connection. We'll zap it right over, and then you don't have to fill out that information again. We've got a
okay.
question now from David. Do you see that? Irrelevant question to the topic, but can Bistro lights be spliced and custom fit? My wife has that question too. We one time thought about it, and then I didn't know the answer.
Yeah, I have a video on it, that's done pretty well. But yeah, especially I would recommend using the HBL. We sell it on our website for the same price as you can get it from HBL, but we're a distributor for them. But yeah, it's uh, so before HBL came up with what they have now, the S14 socket wire. Well,
Mhm.
I don't have a link to it right now, but the so you can just put SP2 plugs on it. So we just sold some today. I just shipped some out. I had to find the plugs
Mm,
for it. I would never recommend SP2 wire for Christmas lights, but in this instance, I'd recommend it for Bistro. Otherwise, you're gonna get the big giant cables, and you almost need to be an electrician to put the ends on them right. But these ones are just like you splice them and cut them just like you would Christmas lights. So they're right on our website. You can customize. I think we sell them in rolls of 330 foot, and then I think you might be able to buy them in 100-foot lengths or something.
gotcha.
Your wife, if when you do this, make sure you put a cable up. Like I have
Oh yeah,
one of
you
my
have to hang it. You have to hang it from it.
yeah, you do not. My wife did this. I'm not trying to make her feel bad, but she is not in the house. But she put up bistro lights back and forth between her garage and her house, and her garage and her house. And I got home. She's like, "Well, you never do nothing around the house anyway." So I wanted this done. So right over the fire pit looked really nice, and I was like, "That's not." I mean, and she didn't want to hear it, so I was like, "Okay." But that's not the right way to do it. And then a big windstorm came and ripped it all apart. So the bistro
Gotcha.
lights are not strong enough to hang by themselves. They're
Mm,
just wires inside with like little tiny wires. You need to put cables first, and that's why
yep.
the HDL is the best one in the business for running bistro lights because you can have a cable that goes directly through the line. They're the only one. They got a patent on it where you can have the cable go the exact same way as the bistro light, so you can run it right through the light. I don't have one with me, but all the other ones you have to run a zip tie through the cable. So
Mm.
that is an answer to the bistro light question.
Yeah, my
Which
brother has them at his house, and he's got like 100 feet of cable, just like going back and forth between a tree and like his pergola,
and
and then he just hangs them.
so if you look, he's probably got zip ties all along it too, because
Yep.
it.
There's little cables all the way down, and yeah, all the way through.
So HBL just came out with that this year, where they have uh, a little tunnel inside the top of it that the cable can go through. So it got rid of the zip ties just this year. Um,
Nice.
Okay, so the reason we're talking with Zeke is because a lot of people come to our trainings, and the number one complaint we get is that we don't spend enough time on the hands-on afterwards. That when people do the questionnaire, and so we try to balance it between marketing and actually understanding the job. But too many people focus on how to install Christmas lights, and they don't understand the ones that are focusing on marketing. They're the ones that are crushing it. They're the ones that are growing in leaps and bounds. The guys that are doing six figures their first year, which I do think it is getting harder to do six figures your first year than it used to be. But
Yeah.
the only way, like Steve Hunsaker, he is a well-known celebrity in the industry now. But he called me one night and picked my brain for I don't know 30 minutes, over an hour, and my wife's like, "Dude, get off the phone with that guy. He's just like nonstop questions." But he's like, "Just tell me exactly what you're doing, who you hire, what service you use." So I told him I'm using Zeke. He runs my AdWords for me. He's the best in the business. That's who I would hire. I was like, but he was working out of a hatchback that year.
I
He
do
says
remember that.
yeah.
Yeah.
He says I remember him saying he was a barista at a temporary job at Starbucks or in between jobs because he was actually made six figures already as a salesman earlier, but he quit that job and was in between. But I was like, I mean, hiring Zeke, if you're running out of a hatchback and a fold up ladder, you could do it, but it's kind of like cutting a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a chainsaw. It's probably a little overkill for the situation you're in, but I didn't hear from him for like a month or two, and then I found out he was doing six figures out of a hatchback. But yeah, he hired Zeke. Now keep in mind, I will tell. I'm not gonna. I don't want to make you think it's all easy. Like he spent, I think, $20 on ads that year to get six figures. So I'm pretty sure
20K, you're probably saying, not
that
$20.
$20,000 is
Yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
he's spending on his AdWords budget.
Yeah, let's break it down for people. So a lot of people there's a problem I think in the sales part of it too. So basically there's a lead problem where they don't get enough leads, and then there's a sales problem. And one of the biggest things that I'm finding is how people do their sales determines their closing rate. And what I'm finding is people are getting about 11 to 15% conversion rates if all they do is someone emails them, says, hey, I want a quote. They look up their house, they make a pretty diagram, they send it off, and they say, here it is, $1,500. And that's all they do. There's no phone call, there's no talking, there's no rapport being built. You're going to have 11 to 15% conversion rate. Now, instead of just emailing that, now you are going to email them eventually. If you call up your quote and say, hey, Miss Smith, I've got your quote ready, give a few minutes, I want to talk to you about how our services work, because you haven't talked to them at that point. And then you walk them through this all-inclusive service. We're prepping it. We're custom cutting it to your house. By the way, that is my house behind me with CLC lights on it behind there. And you explain to them. And then you move into how you have a stay lit guarantee. This maintenance stuff is just getting people to think that you have to maintain it, that breakers are blowing, things like that. You don't want that in their head. You're going to give them a stay lit guarantee. Warranties, people don't really like. They want guarantees that you're going to guarantee you'll be back. So tell them how often you'll be back, but how quickly you can be back to service them. And then explain to them, especially in the winter months, we can say this in Connecticut, Spearfish, and Indianapolis, where when it's colder, when no one wants to take on their lights, that's when we're coming back, we're taking down the lights, we're putting it in storage, and we're going to store it for you for the rest of the year. Explaining them that all-inclusive before you jump into, now, I'm going to move into the price. Now that they know what it is, you're going to kind of squash their, thoughts beforehand. If you want to go a step further, you might even say something along the lines of, this is all-inclusive service that we're basically doing all of it for you. We're covering the insurance, fuel costs, all that good stuff. However you want to word it, but you're trying to squash their ability to go, why is it $1,500? Because in their head, they're thinking cost of lights. They're not thinking labor, insurance, overhead, and profit. Like none of that's being thought. Then when you get to the price point, you might actually ask them like, hey, I got your trim line put up here, but did you also want to do the garland as well, or the ground lights? And you might throw that in, or there should be a tree over here as well. I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but there's a tree. Then you throw that out as well and just double check with them. Then finally you get to the price. And at that point, you might say something like, I can get you on the schedule for the end of October right now, or whatever date it is in a couple of weeks. Would you like to reserve your spot, because we do book up quickly? You're then just going straight to the sale at that point. And if they say, well, I need to talk to your husband or spouse, you say, that's great. I think it's, you should speak to your spouse, because maybe he wants that tree done, or maybe he wants the garland done, or maybe he wants something else. You can choose it. I love Jobber for that reason. You can choose the line items you want, and then once you choose it, you can then pay your deposit. You then walked them all the way through it, and you built all that rapport. How are they going to say no to you at that point? Like, obviously, there's going to be a few no's for your yeses, but the difference of that versus sending a quote is a huge difference. You're going to close twice as many.
Okay, so I'm going to anyone that's watching right now, if you guys can, the first one to share it to, let's say, 4 power washing groups, 4 Christmas light groups can get a pitch hopper. I know some people really like those pitch hoppers, or you can do one of those pro packs, 100-foot pro packs. Whoever can send me screenshots that they shared this live into 8 other groups.
Is it 4 or 8? You just changed it.
Well, no, so no, 8, 4 pressure washer, 4 Christmas. Because the thing is, people, when it's 2, like I have like 10 people within 2 seconds that end up showing me.
Oh, gotcha. You're trying to make it hard.
Yeah.
Go for
it.
Pitch hopper, or
the first person gets the choice of either the pro pack or they get the pitch hopper, and then the person who's in second place gets whatever left over. So whoever messaged me that. But anyway, this is good stuff. Zeke is he's a numbers guy. He knows the data in the industry probably better than almost anyone as far as what cities are the hottest. Unfortunately, I know he's probably not going to share it on the live, but he definitely knows. So I know back when I was trying to open a location with a couple of years ago in Charlotte, and at that point, Charlotte was like the hottest city in America for at least the lowest cost per lead. Like there was just no way anyone could burn out their budgets because there's so many people want Christmas lights in Charlotte. But I don't want to do that to him on a live, because that would really make
it changes every year too. It depends on your service area. I mean, we get guys with really tight service areas, really large. That's a great point. Like one of the biggest. Oh, we got a question. When did the live start?
15 minutes ago.
Yeah, about 15 minutes ago. We can rewind it later, but it's live right now. We're still live. So the biggest thing we hear is people go, well, I want to target this specific service area. Now, here's the thing is Google targets on IP addresses, not based on where they live. That's Facebook and Instagram that do that. So Google is based on the IP address of the cell phone carrier. So a lot of times people go, hey, this is from out of our area. Then Megan on my team, she looks it up. She's like, actually, this is in your service area. It just happens to be that they're from, Charlotte, but, we're running ads in Boston. So that happens. It happens occasionally. So just keep in mind that your service area needs to be large enough to cover your full area. You can't just target like a small spot or half of a zip code. I'll give you an example for like Chicago. No one wants Chicago downtown because it's really hard to it. Where do you think all these guys with 200K incomes are going to work? Is it at home or is it at the Sky Center, in Chicago? They're going downtown. And so when you target around Chicago, all you're doing is getting the people in business parks outside there. You're just cutting off, honestly, 50% of lead volume.
Okay.
That's a huge one. Chicago's our biggest one that people always want to cut off the downtown area.
So even ads, you want to run ads to places like where people are working because it's running an ad to their phone. That's where most Google ads are going to, right?
Yeah. In this industry, typically, so not washing, but in Christmas lights, typically, honestly, it's Friday through like Sunday. Honestly, the leads actually spike on the weekends for this industry. And what are people doing on the weekends? They're moving around. Now, they're still at work Friday and Monday. I'm just pointing out those dates too. So we have people at work and then on the move. Well, when they're on the move, it's from their phone. When it's from their phone, it's the IP address. Even if they're at work, that IP address is usually a VPN. That will go downtown, most likely. Almost all VPNs are going to go downtown for your service area.
Okay, so you want to think about that when you're doing ads. So you think Facebook's similar, but Facebook's it's not like you turn them on.
No, Facebook is based on GPS. So that's based specifically on where that phone sits most of the time.
So, but when they're going to work though, they're going, and if they're working in downtown Chicago, does it change?
That's a good point. So it depends. Are the Facebook leads coming in during the day or at night? So Facebook does it a lot more on where people are spending time. So you can actually have someone that is in two different areas, and that's why you get weird things where someone's traveling, things like that. And so if people are moving through it, it'll still capture it. So Facebook has a little wider of or looser of targeting, and that's why you'll get really weird leads from all sorts of areas.
Okay, so you're the numbers guy. So this year, for leads across the country, so like what percentage of leads that you end up seeing nationwide come in September versus the whole year?
About from Google, it's like less than 1% or
Less than 1%.
3%.
So for us,
Yeah,
we sell Christmas lights. That's what our company does. So
yeah.
September, we're usually like about 4% of our yearly sales happen in September, 4 maybe 5%. So it's just
Yeah,
not.
I mean, right. I'd be with that. Yeah.
So, I was just wondering if leads are very similar, but it sounds
The
like leads are
highest
even more.
volume is November, but when it starts to ramp up, it's the third week of October.
The third week of October. So people still like if someone was to actually try to consult you and try to get you to run their ads, like how long does it take you to get there? Like tomorrow, I'm probably going to call you and sign up for the ads for my state. But how long would it be before my ads are live? Because I need to
48
have
hours. For our agency, it's 48 hours, but other agencies can
48.
be three.
So
Yeah.
do you think I'll start getting leads this week then?
Yeah. Well, no, see, the thing is when we're talking Connecticut here, we're not talking big metropolitan areas. So last year, our best client, now these are clients that did 600 leads by the end of the year. That same client only did, I think it was 10 or 11 leads in September. We're already at that point in September. We're halfway through the month. So we're getting 2x the number of leads as last year because we changed up the way we did everything last year. We're getting twice the targeting that we had in the past. And so people are hitting probably closer to 20 in the big cities already. But you got to think about it. If you're getting only 5 to 10 leads in September, and now some of our clients haven't got any leads, so I want to like preface that. So if you're getting maybe 1 to 2 a week, it's like, yeah, if we get your ad set up, it'll be like, a couple days. But volume wise, I'll give an example. We had a guy last year that only had 2 leads in September. And I just emailed him a few hours ago, and he has 9 leads. And I was like, leads are picking up. And he's like, yeah, they're hemming and hawing. They're not buying just yet. So it's like the advantage of starting early is it gets the algorithm going earlier. You will get more leads starting earlier. We had guys that started the second week of October, and they got half as many leads as I expected for that city, versus the guys that are now starting, in September. I think they'll end up getting twice as many leads this year. I think it's huge.
Okay, let me see. I'm gonna change this because I need. Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Let's see. I might be able to do this. Maybe it's not going to. I'm trying to switch it. I can't ever use this for my TikToks and stuff because it's too wide. I got to figure out how to fix that one of these days. But so like what I've been hearing is power washing kind of across the board across the country has been down on average. Some people have done better. Now so for ads though on AdWords, you haven't seen
I
much of
have
a
seen
lead.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
we've seen on average. So if you are from Illinois to Pittsburgh, we're seeing even year over year or up. So anywhere in the Midwest, Michigan, Ohio, things like that, we're actually seeing up in some of those areas. But maxing is down. No, Michigan's been up. It's you just didn't have someone running Google Ads to know what they're doing. Michigan's been way up. We actually doubled a guy's business this year in Michigan. Um, Michigan, it just depends on just the volume. I hate to say that to somebody on there, but it's like you just didn't have the ads on properly. Now on the West Coast, we've seen it down as low as 50%. The southern states, we've seen it lower as 30%, but on average, Megan's told me it's down 17%. Max is laughing now.
Well, so I actually ran the same thing. I went all in on Facebook this year because I was like, okay, I don't really want to grow my power washing business, but I just want to keep the guys busy. Well, I lost my website, so it's like, well, I can either pay AdWords to get my website going. I'm going to be probably $5,000 just to get it up, or I can just spend it all on Facebook. I spent it all on Facebook, and I regret that. I should have just did AdWords and get my website going because Facebook is especially what do they do when they're on Facebook? They go and look your company up on Google. So I really should have. I mean, I have to start all over. I had a bunch
You
of
should bring that up. Wait, that's a really great question. So I surveyed people on yard signs, and everyone's doing yard signs, right? And so they're all putting out yard signs. So I emailed all my clients and I said, hey, who has yard signs in their area? And the guys that answered they're seeing yard signs, we have more leads for them on Google Ads. So then one of my guys 4 days ago put out yard signs in certain patches of cities that he wanted. And he only got a couple leads. There's 2 leads that came in on Sunday. And he said he had a few phone calls from those signs and a few from Google Ads. And he said it was in the same city. He said the correlation is there. So I just want to let everyone know that's on this live stream. Put out yard signs and it'll increase my clients' Google Ads. So it's a great win-win.
So in Indianapolis, I still have one of the top websites in Indianapolis. So the more yard signs, the more people call
The
me.
more business. Yeah. So keep doing that, guys. We love it. We love it.
It drives people to my website. So, but honestly, so the reason I talk about power washing, and also we were at the huge attendance was way down this year. And that's like the first time that's happened in a lot of years. It's just been growing and growing till this year. But then you start talking to people and numbers are down for a lot of industries. But what we're seeing with Christmas lights is like numbers are up for a lot of people so far. I think I'm getting more leads at this time of year than I'm used to. People are getting more renewals. People, if they're having a rough year, they're still going to want to spend money putting up, enjoying the holidays.
Clientele, honestly. It's the higher end people that are doing it.
So if you're not, but after I felt like I was getting this stomped on my Facebook. Now my Facebook ads are pretty dialed in now. I had to kind of relearn it all because I got booted off of Facebook
Christmas
like
lights,
2 years
right?
ago. What?
Christmas lights are washing.
For washing. So I've been running ads for Facebook for the last 4 months. And my first 2 months were pretty brutal, but now I got them dialed in and I'm getting pretty good lead flow now on power washing, which is good. But it's a different game than it was. So you have to be in video, making it, talking to the people. So you introduce yourself. You have to be selling. It's not just before and after photos that work very well anymore on Facebook.
You have to be selling yourself. So that's a great thing to think about. Is like, so if you're running Facebook ads, whether it's washing or lights, keep in mind, for Google Ads, the intent on a Google Ad lead is 2 to 3x. So if you're getting a Google Ads lead, I'm just going to use my example, as we're typically at the $40 mark. That means a Google ad or a wash or a Facebook lead, you want to get around $13, 13 to 15 bucks, because that would be equal. Now you don't have to, but I'm just saying if you're trying to compare the two, that's what you'd have to be at. If you were at a $25 or $30 lead for Facebook, then that'd be $100 lead on Google Ads. So you could literally spend the same amount on Google. Well, you could go up to $100, and it would cost you about the same amount because the intent isn't there as well. So how many washing lead or Facebook leads does it take to get you a job?
It takes about 3, so 3 to 4.
Takes about 3. So it's typically 1 to 2. So hey, that's not bad if you're at 3.
Well, no, but they were when I was just doing before and after photos on Facebook, which are like 2 months I was doing, like that was not. I mean, it was taking me. My closing rate was horrible. But when I started getting in front of the camera, talking, introducing myself,
trusting
hey,
you at that
like
point,
we're the guys doing the work. Yeah, then my closing rate it's somewhere between 3 to 4 of every lead ends up turning.
So if it was 4, that would be right because Google Ads is 1 out of 2 you should be closing, but Facebook's 1 out of 4. So
Yeah. But if it was when it was before and after, just sending them to a form, like those didn't work very well at all. It took me a long time. I was like, and so I threw away a lot of money at ads, spent way more money than I thought. But then you told me that you got a guy that's crushing it in Connecticut for AdWords, for soft
He's our
washing.
largest client by far. Yeah.
So I was like, man, I should have just did AdWords in Connecticut. So you can be doing horrible on Facebook, go on Google and just kill it in the exact same state. So I'm saying that, Max, so maybe you feel, hey, that's maybe what happened to you, Max, that you didn't have the
He
right.
said he didn't have anyone running, but he could have been doing it himself. I forgot his story on it.
Do not run your AdWords yourself. I'd highly discourage it because you're going to be competing against guys like Zeke, and he's going to get way more leads for cheaper. So just hire him.
That's a really great question. So my wife asked me that the other day, and I was like, so on average, I have a whole notepad of all these people I talk to. On average, if someone tells me they're paying $200 a lead on Google Ads, I know exactly what agency it is. If they tell me they're at 125, I know exactly what agency that is. If they tell me that they're somewhere in the 75 to 90 bucks, that's probably my closest competitor. I then know who they're running with at that point. We are typically in that $40 to $50 price point for washing. So if you were to get 30 leads and I were to save you 50 bucks, I'm going to save you $1,500 on just 30 leads. If you got 60 leads, I'm going to save you $30,000. So on average, guys in big cities are saving $5,000 a month on average by having us run it versus whatever these other guys are that keep telling me these $200. Well, that's not even 200. That's literally 100. We're not even using the high number. I'm literally using a 50 versus 100. $5,000 easily on these big cities.
Okay, so and you were talking number. Okay, so I live in a state of 3 million people. So if I advertise the whole state, now Indianapolis has like 2 million people in the metropolitan area. Would you get as many leads in a 3 million area statewide, or is it? I haven't seen that before because I've used you
for washing or for lights.
For Christmas lights.
So Christmas lights, what we're seeing is, and I'm trying to be loose on this too, is 75 to 125 leads for 1 million people. Every 1 million people, that's what we're seeing. I'll give an example. We had one client in a 4 million population place, and he did 670 leads. It was like about 700 leads in that area, and that was with 4 million people.
And that's Christmas lights?
Oh, yeah, Christmas lights. So we did 700 leads. And we've had guys in 2 million. So I would say our middle ground people are the ones in the 2 million. They're hitting 400 leads with us. And now with Facebook ads, you need 800 leads. And no one has come to me saying they've gotten 800 leads off Facebook ads yet to this day.
Okay. So but that still doesn't quite answer my question because I have hired you a couple of years ago.
3 million people. I'm saying in theory, you're looking at 300 leads.
Now, Connecticut is not very big for Christmas lights. Doesn't market maturity have a little bit? I'm sure you see some states.
Yeah, that's why I say the 75, 150. So what we're doing is like, obviously we're still running search, but one of the biggest things we're doing is we're running AI intent campaigns. And so if the intent is there to buy Christmas lights, we're matching it with a really high income. So we're getting rid of the bottom 70%, targeting the top 30%. We're then running off we're matching the leads that are already coming in for search. We're matching them for display ads. So display, discover, YouTube, and it has a little bit of search, but honestly, like 80% is off display ads. We're pulling in right now to this date, 65% more leads in 2024 using the AI intent. Last year, we averaged about 20 to 40% more, but we redid the algorithm for our company. You're not going to do that on your own. I had a friend that just spent $500 with no intent on it, and he just lost $500 not doing it right. But
Okay.
I think Connecticut could still be it. It might be slower, but I would still say maybe 75 to 100
Well, the
bucks.
thing is, I want to make sure I make it. I want to make sure I get a good footprint this year. I'm not trying to be profitable in Connecticut, so I know guys are not. I just want to get. I
You
want to
gotta
get
be
enough.
profitable.
Well, I don't care if I throw all my money away on ads and material and paying guys to install it and manage it. I just want to make sure I got a good footprint because next year I don't got to pay the ads for it. I don't got to pay the material
Yep.
costs. And they're just and I'll get a lot of referrals out of that. But
If you
um,
think about it, if you want to grow your business fast, year one, if you have the capital, if you can do yard signs, Google ads, and Facebook ads in year one, you're not going to make much in profit. But if you think about it, if you're closing leads, you technically could probably pull off a 15% profit margin. It's not going to be pretty, but you could potentially do a ton of numbers. I'll give just some random numbers. If you want to make 100K, let's just break down the numbers. What's your average ticket, Fred?
I'm low in the industry. I'm about 1,500.
That's the number I was going to use. So if you want to do 100K, you just divide that by 1,500. That means you're going to need 67 leads. What's your closing rate on a lead from Google, organic, even referrals?
For Christmas lights, I'm probably like 20%.
Yeah, that's the number that we typically go with. As long as, like, remember, we got to call that person.
They're
Don't just email
qualified. Yeah.
them. So you times it by 5. That means we need to get you 335 leads from a Google and a high intent. If I
Okay.
need to add in Facebook, I need to double some of those leads in there. So
Okay.
335. How many yard signs do you put out?
I don't put out yard signs, so except in a yard that I do.
Yeah,
I
you
okay.
do.
I
It
know
doesn't
it
work.
works.
That's a
I,
billboard
I
in front of you.
I definitely know it works. I definitely know it works. But there was I so honestly in Indiana, like we get clobbered with so many leads. I don't really pay for it. We do pay for SEO year round.
We got to do
My
about
website.
Connecticut. We gotta get you 100K in Connecticut.
Right. So
I'm saying is of those 335 leads that we need for you, if you put out 100 yard signs, I've been trying to calculate the numbers. So of the 67 jobs that we need, you could potentially do at least 20 jobs from 100 yard signs. I have heard multiple guys only put out 100 yard signs and they'll do 20 to 30K. Now, are these referrals? Are they all houses? It's hard to know. So I'm using a rough number of basically trying to multiply by 5 or 6. So you'll get
okay.
one job for every 5 to 6 signs you put out. Now they have to
Yep.
stay there and they have to not be taken down. Someone gave me a number of like 1 to 10 when they were being taken down and things like that. But my point is that of your 67 jobs that you need to get done, you could potentially do a third of them of just yard signs. Then the other 45 of them, we just need another 225 leads. You could do that from Google Ads. So between
Okay.
yard signs and Google Ads, it's potential. You just got to close at 20%. If the guy's closing at 15, that's what ends up happening.
I'm pretty certain we got some pretty good Facebook ads coming out, so I think we're gonna get quite a few leads on Facebook.
You
But
do 100, well, 20 from yard signs, 20 from Facebook, and surely over 20 off of Google Ads. I mean, you could do way more in bigger
okay.
cities.
My brother wants me to do a YouTube channel or a series of undercover like millionaire, but only showing up to a city starting from 0 to 100K. Could me or Donovan do it? And I maybe I should go all into Connecticut just to prove that. Yeah, it's not just an ad. Like people really do. We've seen so many people do 100K their first year, but it's not normal. So I'm
No,
not trying to hype people
it's
and think that. But
what
if you
usually happens is that they misquote. So, for instance, we already landed our first quote. My friend did in Spearfish. There was a guy who got a quote, got his price back from another person, and then we quoted. We were higher, but we think he missed. He misquoted a certain section of the house that had extra lights. But he's going to go with us anyway since he knows who we are. But it's one of those. I think people misquote things, and so then they get lower average tickets. I think people are not confident. Like honestly, I could sell lights if I want to. Like if I want to go to a dealership, I could sell lights to a dealership if I wanted to. Like you got to be confident in exactly what you sell. What you sell is a service that you're like excited about. If you
so
lose
what
excitement, your sales go down.
so what percentage of your leads end up being commercial on average? Not too many, right?
It's like it's not like if I look at forms, it was like less than 5% when I ran the numbers of forms. Calls, I don't know for calls. But we had a guy today. He's not on. I don't see him yet on it. But he had a $50,000 quote come in last week. So I texted him while I was eating lunch today, and I was like, "Hey, how'd that $50,000 quote go?" And he said, "I'm literally walking into their building in 15 minutes." And so he was still doing that quote. It's probably an HOA or a commercial property, but $50,000. That's huge. Dealerships are like what, 5 to 6K. They're
Yeah,
pretty simple.
especially you can turn them into permanent lights. But so we have some stuff in the works for next year. I think we're going to crush it on commercial nationwide with some AI stuff that we're doing on Facebook. It's we're kind of in well, we're pretty confident it's going to work, but we're not really ready to roll it out, nor do we have the capacity. Like so people that are part of Vibrant Nights know that that's like the fastest growing part of Christmas Light Contractors. I don't know. So do you run ads for permanent lights? Because I'm
So
sure.
we started this year, and so we got rid of the negative. Now last year we had it as a keyword. Now this is where it kind of got dicey because we just watched this happen last week. The intent for permanent lights. So there's lots of searches for permanent lights, but they don't have the intent of an installer. They're searching permanent lights, but they're not having the intent of like the company installation installer keyword with it. And so I was going through keywords, and I had to actually like retrain my team. So that tells you how involved I am with my company. Is I retrained my team on how to look at keywords for new industries that we're looking at. You really have to have that word that's a verb, like installation, installer, pressure washing. You have to have that term in there. You can't just go after just the permanent Christmas lights, because you think about it, that's like looking up light bulb or Christmas lights in general. So the intent for permanent lights with installation is not super high, like in keywords that we're seeing. But then someone emailed me literally just 2 hours ago, or well, this was 4 hours ago, it was about lunchtime, and he said, "Hey, I'm getting a lot of permanent light inquiries," and he's like, "Is this pretty normal to have year round?" And Megan says to me, she goes, "We're not running permanent lights for him. He didn't check the box." So she's like, he has the negative. It's not on his landing page because you get an extra module on your landing page if you do permanent lights. And she's like, that's organic, or it's someone just looking up Christmas light company and they're calling him, because she said none of the forms said permanent. So it's getting up there with people being more interested in permanent, but the intent is still kind of low.
Well, the thing
Someone,
is, so like we've been dealing with some of the biggest guys in the country. They've been doing it for a lot of years. And they said still you're nowhere near market saturation. At even most places, you're still not even there isn't market awareness. Like we're still in the mode of market. You have to educate your market. Like there's no penetrate. You need to penetrate the market right now. No one has even heard of a permanent light, and it's less than 1% of people know what a permanent light is in most markets. So
and
it's
if
really
people
hard.
don't know, you have to use cold marketing sources. So you have to be doing Facebook and Instagram ads to educate them. You couldn't just use it.
Right. But so one thing I want to point out is so us as a company selling permanent lights, we sell probably 80% of all our permanent lights happen at September through November. So it's like maybe 80 to 90% of it. So I know it's a
Wow.
year-round product, but most people they're not serious buyers until the way a homeowner is, and even businesses. That's where we're mostly growing is with commercially. But they don't think about it till Christmas light budget is around. They're about to put Christmas lights in the building. Then they're like, oh, wait, we could just do permanent lights. So even if you're trying to get
Mhm.
into permanent lights, the best time to get into it is right now. And the rest of the year, it is a tough sell.
Yeah, I could see that. I know guys that do it throughout the year, but they're so well known in their area. I'm thinking of the Tonner brothers in Holiday Cheer Lighting.
Well,
They
I
do
can
it year
tell you,
round.
like we know some of the biggest guys, and they will tell you. I don't want to use all their names and stuff, but like we came up with the temporary clip this year. We invented it. It was our idea. Now Minlin's the one that actually has the patents and all that stuff, but we're the
Yeah.
ones like, look, we want a temporary permanent light clip because what people are doing right now, if you see a ton of people in the spring putting up permanent lights, they land those jobs in November when everyone the intent was
Mm.
there when everyone wanted. And what they will do is they'll put up Christmas lights in November because it takes you an hour to do a job or maybe 2 hours. And but then you come back and it's an all day install in February or in March when you're taking down the lights. Now you put up the permanent lights, but they just give them a discount on the permanent lights, and they give them Christmas lights.
Mm.
They have something, and they come in. But almost everyone that does permanent lights in the spring, that's doing a large volume of them, that's how they're getting them. So we came up with a temporary light for permanent, or temporary clip for permanent lights. So we're almost sold out already, but we brought
Wow.
50,000 of them in. So people are putting, so when people ask for permanent lights, you can put up just as fast as Christmas lights on the house, and then come back in the spring and put up a permanent trap.
Let's answer this question. Unrelated, but what are your thoughts on GHL for CRM? Do you use GHL at all, Fred?
So for my or for my soft washing business, I started to use it. I really do like it. I don't know how I can integrate it into your lead source. If I could, maybe I would.
Is that Zapier? We use it ourselves. Everything that comes to our company is, so my company uses GHL. We use it as a CRM, but I don't know. There's certain parts I like, certain parts I don't. One thing I do recommend is my service robot uses GHL, and they do all of the automations for you. And so there's that advantage. I know some companies like it's like built in with it, but it doesn't matter. You can use multiple GHL platforms. So the idea is I could zap my form to GHL, then zap it to Jobber. Like I can zap to any different CRM that's out there. GHL, it's an API code. So they have a login or an API, but I mean, it's a decent platform. You just have to really know it well. So that's why I always recommend going underneath someone that is kind of
So
like a reseller for it.
So people that don't know, like I'm pretty transparent about but I'm running my Facebook ads through Mike at Evolve. And he uses GHL, and he's got a
Yep.
Christmas offer. So I haven't really promoted him publicly too much because I want to see the lead flow, but I'm pretty confident. And the reason I'm working with him is because he lets me kind of micromanage the ads if I want to and figure out what's going on. Because I want to know the data, I want to know what's going
Yeah.
on and how they're performing. So but also I'm going to be using Zeke for my AdWords. Just got to get signed up. But throughout the season, I'll be letting you know where I'm getting the most bang for my buck. So I'm pretty sure Zeke's not sweating. He knows how to get leads.
If there's 3 million, I'll get it. So here's my point: is I want to make sure people know this. If you're running Google Ads, you really need 750,000 or more to get decent volume. But something that someone brought to my attention, they were like, "Well, if you get me 75 leads, I would have to get 150 off of Facebook to get the same equivalent." And to me, I just think you need to get some volume. You know what I mean? Like if you're only closing 20% of them. And so we just prefer 750,000. We work with JC Chanelski. That's like 350. We work with some guys in Myrtle Beach, and that's like 300,000. And we'll get them leads, but honestly, it's only about like 50 to 70. It's not 100 leads, but they usually have Chick-fil-A's, dealerships, things like that come in, and that's $15,000 for those projects, and it makes it all worth it. And so
Okay.
that's why it doesn't matter.
Okay, so the part of the state I live in, there's only probably 500,000 within an hour radius of me. So that's the challenge. There might be 600,000. We have
Is that
300.
in London or is that Hartford?
So Hartford. So I'm going to be. I have a website in Hartford. So I was going to try to. I the whole state has 3 million, but probably a million of it's out of. I don't want to go drive to New York. I'm not interested fighting the traffic. But that's
Yeah.
where most of the people are.
The
I just.
Hartford, Connecticut Metro
Well, the reason I'm
is
asking is you
1.2
said
million
so 1.2 million. So,
in the
okay, so
Metro. Yeah.
but it's pretty poor a lot of the areas. But you
Yeah.
said your AI can target people that are higher income on your ads. Is
Yeah,
that
so we
possible?
got to be careful on how we describe higher income. So the bottom 50% in most states is under 60,000. And so we've been just getting rid of the bottom 50% of people. Typically, if you look at like our client that did 700 leads, we didn't even block the bottom 50% at first, and we noticed that everyone came in the top 30%. Now, there was someone that came in yesterday to one of our clients that said, "Hey, are you hiring?" And Megan said he was in the top 10%. So we're
Sure.
like, Google, he's looking for a job, but he's also, Google thinks he's in the top 10%. So yeah, Megan tracked it back down, and she's like, "We can't block anything, Zeke." But so it's using the government statistics on what the median income is, and then it's just putting a percentage from, it just says bottom 50, then 41, or goes 51 to 60, then keeps going up to 100%, or top 10%.
is that through like neighborhoods, or how is it through geo-targeting, or how is it figuring out their
Oh, it's
income?
through your Google account, your
Okay.
Gmail. So if you have a Gmail account, it's tracking every cookie. That's why when we were talking earlier, I was like, how do you know? Because the cookie it's looking at the cookies of that user, and that user is purchasing things. When it purchases things, it's tagging. So it has Google is connected to Visa, Amex, all these credit cards. They're also connected to the government. So the government tells them what they think the median income is. That's what it says on their website there. And then it uses credit card purchases to know what the person's spending, what their buying habits. So for Christmas lights, the way it's using the intent is that person on Christmas light websites, basically. And we're getting leads as low as $10. Some of them are
But
higher.
you literally could target people that are making over 60,000 on Google.
Mhm.
That,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I don't think you were able to do that like a
You
couple
can
of
on
years
Facebook.
ago.
I have a video coming out in a few days that literally talks about how Google is actually higher
Well,
intent than
what you're
Facebook.
saying, okay, the higher income jobs are going to be in Hartford, but I don't want to target Hartford because those are a lot of they're mostly rentals and not a place I want to
You can
work.
exclude renters now as well on
But
Google.
but if the people are working there, I still want that's where all the
Exactly.
money's at. So if where people are
So we
working,
just need to stay in that top 30%. Usually I do the top 50 until like we get some bad feedback, like, hey, these aren't good leads. But in general, if leads are coming in, it goes to top 30%. Even if you don't exclude it, most people that look are in the top 30%. Now, here's when I don't think that number is true. After Thanksgiving, it's all of the jealous neighbors calling because they're like, hey, I want what Zeke has on his house because his lights are turned on. How do I get that too? So that's where I would say, the the income level is a little lower because anybody's calling after Thanksgiving.
okay, and just one other. So let's say a guy clicks on your ad, and so I get a lead. How much do you think, since I don't really have a good website and I lost my website with all my reviews, is that going to hurt the performance of closing the leads?
We have 3 templates that we use, and we kind of match it based upon what's in that area, who it is, because we take on 2 people per area. That's the max we do now. We tried 3; it does not work because people turn off their ads. We literally had a guy in Nashville turn off his ads 3rd week of October. He was done. We booked him up. He had 70 leads. He was like, "I'm done. I'm booked
Yeah.
up." So that's why we do multiple people, but we pick we try to evenly do it. So I have a few in one color, a few in one color, and then we look and see how well it did that year. We see no difference in our landing pages. Now we use your own website, and honestly, if your website goes down, we have seen a lot of guys have really poor hosting on websites, and they go down. And so then we move it to our domain anyway, and so we'll just move it to our subdomain. So guys can come to us with no website, no URL, nothing, and I'll just say, "What's your brand name?" and I'll just throw it up on my subdomain, and we'll just
That's
launch the
awesome.
ads.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't you're really talking me into it. If I can start getting leads now, I can probably start installing. I know I'm one of the better installers in the country, so I'm a pretty good salesman.
just a little bit, of experience.
Yeah, so I think, but I really tried to get my company going here in Connecticut. So
You probably
I'm
would do
here.
best Hartford down to whatever is southwest. I'm trying to think, is that Fairfield? I feel like there's
Yeah,
some
but
better home sales.
Fairfield's really good. The problem is that when you start dealing with traffic, it can take you an hour to go 10 miles. So what I could service all the way up to New Haven. But New
Mhm.
Haven's a pretty rough city, but up so all the money is on the other side of my state. So it's all by New York. I mean, to be in the top 1% income earner in Connecticut, you have to make over $800,000 a year. So I
Oh,
know other
wow.
states, the average is closer to like a quarter million in your top 1%, but
Hmm.
Connecticut has some extremely wealthy people, but it's all like by New
So
York.
you just need to move, Fred.
I,
Or
but I don't want to, yeah, no, we're not
you
doing
buy
that.
a family. You buy a family on the other side.
Yeah, so I don't want to drive that far, but I still think, but you're just from a number standpoint, if I can get over a million in the Hartford area, that's close to me. That's within an hour drive. I could get, if I get a couple jobs there, that should be
Yeah,
good.
if you're talking to 1 million people, we should be able to do roughly 100 leads. That's kind of my rough ballpark numbers. That's 20 jobs. That's $30,000.
Okay, 20 jobs, 30,000. Then I get Facebook. If I can get 20 jobs that way, that'd be 30,000. Then my yard signs, I would really have to do a lot of yard signs this year. I honestly, if I get 40, $50,000 of Christmas lights for my first year in
You
Connecticut,
gotta
I
aim
would
for
be,
100 and get 50. Like aim for the stars, land in your
yeah,
backyard.
you could get one commercial that would just be all that in a single job.
Just walk in. You just walk in and be like, "Hey, we did such and such with Hallmark, blah blah blah," walk into the dealerships and get all the dealerships in the area.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we literally have done a bunch of Hallmark movies in Connecticut. So okay, so you were saying, are you still pretty open across the United States, or you got most of your
There's
locations?
about 12 cities that are gone already. Honestly, just reach out. It's surprising how many we aren't completely booked in. Like when leads come in, I've turned away. I think Cleveland got booked up fast. When Max
Indianapolis?
is in, that's booked up in Oakland County. Indianapolis always booked up. Same two guys every year.
Yeah, yeah.
That one's booked up. I'm trying to think of other cities that got booked up pretty quickly, but we still have the West Coast. We actually have Seattle open right
Hey,
now.
hey, this guy right here. Let's. You need to call this Marius Codrino. Hey, you need to hire Zeke like right now. He just bought like $50,000
Charleston,
worth of lights. So
yes, I do
he
have Charleston open. Yeah, I do. Yeah, Charleston. I don't have anyone in Charleston right now,
he's in
Phil.
Washington. If you're serious about growing your business, Marius, you need to hook up with Zeke.
Is he in Seattle? Is he in the Seattle market?
No, I don't know where he's at. Like I think he's everywhere in
We're gonna
Washington.
start Googling you, Marius, until you answer where you're at.
He's very serious about growing this year. He literally just bought like $50,000, or probably it might have been $30,000 worth. No, I think it was almost $50,000 of lights.
He's
So
in Vancouver. So, Marius, you have to go over into the Portland area. Vancouver has not been a great area, honestly, for washing. I hope I got it right. I found his LinkedIn.
okay,
Yeah. And so, yeah, going over on the other side for Portland, that would be your best bet to get leads.
do you have available
I have
in
one guy in Portland so far, and we're doing much better than last year. So Portland is a weird one. You have to start early in Portland. Portland, you can either get 200 leads or you get 80 leads, or like it depends on when you start. Like it really depends, and that's a perfect example of that's actually the example I give. I'm really transparent about it because basically the guy started like October 20th and he got 57 leads, and another guy started and got 220 leads. And the difference was that one guy started in August, one guy October 20th. The guy that started in August, he's not doing them this year because he has so much volume from last year. I mean, it was 220 leads. So this guy like had to tell him like, look, you can get over 200 leads in the Portland market. You just have to start really early.
Is it because the AI learns faster, or like it's longer
It
to
takes
dial
30
in?
days to really dial it in. And what happens is actually the placements. So Google actually preferences people that have other ads running longer. It's been like Megan and I have talked about it. We thought it was true, and then we talked to another agency, and he confirmed it. And then we had a client that actually did it himself last year. He did an account that had been running for a while, and then a brand new one. So he did from his washing account and a Christmas light account. And the washing account did better because of it running longer. And so honestly, it's just start them earlier. Start in September. If you sign up today or tonight or tomorrow or whatever, basically, we'll get them going by the end of the week. And honestly, you should be pretty good starting in September. Once we get into October, it's not that we're not going to have great results, because you're just going to have less leads. That's my point on it. So yep, Charleston, Phil, I can do Charleston. I have done Charleston about 3 or 4 years ago. It's a hot market, honestly. I have to pull some metrics on that one. But it's a good market.
Well, so like Steve Hunsaker, when he did 120,000 his very first year out of a hatchback, it really was only because he hired Zeke. But
yeah, he did 350, 400 leads that first year in the Phoenix market. So Phoenix market's we're booked up in Phoenix, by the way. And basically that market, it starts at the end of October and then it grows from there. So the later you start, the less you get. But then basically it gets smaller and smaller with obviously the smaller your targeting is. So like Steve now does like a really small radius. And you don't get that many leads when you get that small of a radius, because not as many people obviously are, searching in that exact area.
Well, I know why he does that, because there's like a bunch of billionaires that live in a certain area, and so that's
Yep.
where he makes most of his money. But from running ads, it's hard to get very many.
Yeah, we still got him 150 leads last year. So he still did 150 in a very, very small target area.
Wow. Okay,
yeah.
so
that's the interesting thing is not everyone's going to do that, but he still did 150.
But you're confident in Connecticut with so the population, there's no major cities, so everything is like space. So Hartford, I think, only has 140,000, and then
Yeah,
like
you
so
got to get that
everything's
wide.
small. So it's like it's a state that, well, like there's just cities like every 5 or 6 miles, another city of 10 to 20,000 people.
So I use maps.ie for population. There's also some other freemaptools.com, I think it is. And a lot of these, you can actually just start drawing a radius. I like maps.ie because I can just start moving the radius. And so if we go from Hartford, from like Windsor Locks to New Britain, or actually let's just go from Hartford to New Haven. Is that what you said you would do?
Yeah, Hartford to New Haven over to where I live, over all the way to Rhode Island.
Yeah, so let's just put a few little circles on here. Um, just kind of doing this circle. There we go. Perfect. New Haven, New London, Hartford, just a triangle here. 1.8 million people in
Oh,
that
so,
area.
and so you just go straight from numbers. You don't care about like whether they're like
I
it
give you a
seems
range. I'm not promising that. That's the thing. Is, so when you
no.
guys sign up, I say, hey, it's up to 100 leads is what, because my goal is honestly, obviously we want you to make money, but my goal is also to get you volume so that you can make that 20K from 100 leads. Now, not every client we have does 100 leads, even though that's what all our contracts say on it is this is the minimum price. It's kind of like you guys doing a house. Your minimum price is $1,000. Well, to do $1,000, what if they had 80 feet or 120 feet? Well, or 125 feet, that's $8 a foot. If it's less than 125 linear feet, it's still $1,000. Well, that's for us, is our minimum price is for up to 100 leads. Over 100 leads, we charge per lead. Now, a lot of guys go, well, why do you do that? And I'm like, well, meet another Google Ads agency doing over 100 leads, and then I'll wait, because they're not doing it. And so I'm trying to do my best. So I'm doing the AI, doing the display ads. We're doing everything in our means to get you way more than 100 leads. And so we're trying our best to get you volume to make make everything worthwhile.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll have an ROI on my Google Ads and my Facebook for Connecticut this year, so that'll be a good, interesting study at the end of the year.
That'd be fun to see yeah, it's hard to get some numbers from people. Like some people are a little hushed about it. Here's the way we do it. And this is how you can track it. We make a Google sheet that's all your phone number calls and all your forms. And so you're going to have your phone number there, and you have your phone number and your emails. You're then going to have your list of all your clients that you got from, that you installed. Take those two sheets I have and put it into Excel. Don't use it in Google Sheet. It won't work like that. Strip out all the hyphens, parentheses, spaces for your phone calls or phone numbers for each of those. You're then going to take your phone numbers for all your clients, and you're going to put it in the same column for your phone number, for your phone calls, and for your forms. Then hit duplicate finder. It's going to duplicate and put everything in red for all your clients to all your leads. You're then going to scroll through it, and you're going to look at which client it was that came in from, from Google Ads for us, honestly. You're then going to mark that person and say, this person brought in this revenue. And just like that, honestly, I could probably get someone ROI number in like 10, 15 minutes by just doing that. The even faster way to do it would be to import in a phone number plus like how much do they spend. So like get some type of sheet from Jobber, export it, client name, phone number, and how much they spent. Have that down, and then when you run the duplicate finder, as soon as it marks it in red, you're gonna have your dollar amount. You don't even have to look it up. If there's a will, there's a way. I can do spreadsheets pretty well, but you can get ROIs super fast.
Well, yeah, I want to know like when am I getting the best bang for my buck? Facebook ads.
It's gonna vary if those commercial jobs come in. To be honest,
Well, yeah, and it would definitely vary. I would think you would get an average though, especially if you do multiple locations around the country. Okay.
exactly.
Well, it's going really long, but yeah, I'm surprised we had almost 20 people still on
Yeah.
this today. Now, a lot of people are going to rewatch this. So, uh, you're booking up. So when I saw it, the huge, you had quite a few more availability. So it's been like 2 weeks since the huge. So you've been booking up since then, or
Yeah, so since I'm doing 3 calls a day, basically, I kind of space them out every 90 minutes or so. I kind of go on for some of my calls. I'll tell people I don't do sales calls. I have no script. All I do is try to see, are you a good fit for or is Google Ads a good fit for your business? Some guys, it's their first year. I don't really recommend a lot of marketing in your first year if you don't have your closing rate dialed in. Like I wouldn't even do Facebook or Google Ads your first year, maybe second year. I would stick to yard signs, something that's like really cheap. just to get you going. If it's your year one, but if it's year two and you've already done, you know how to close sales. Google ads and Facebook ads are the way to go to get some volume. Google ads have a higher volume. I can kind of do unlimited ad spend with Google as long as your area is big enough. Facebook, you're obviously limited by whatever you put for your daily spend, and you got to do more campaigns. But my calendar is available. I think tomorrow I only have 2 calls, I think. And then my calendar is completely free after.
Okay, so you put
Tomorrow.
your link there. I don't need to call you sent me the link. I just have to fill it out, so I don't think I need to call you.
Yeah, so so people can just fill that out. There's a video on there. It explains how we do recommend 750,000 Christmas lights. I'll be lenient on smaller areas. I'm super transparent with people. Like, you may not get more than 50 leads, but in comparison, you may not get 100 leads on Facebook. Like, you would need 100 leads to get the same amount of intent as Google. So it's still pretty good. I just tell people, like, hey, you're not going to get 100 leads if you're under 1 million people in your service area. So I'll help you out. I'll walk you through that. I'll walk you through sales pitches, how to sell. I'll help you out with how to do yard signs correctly so that you don't send traffic to your competitors. We talk about that on calls. We talk about different CRMs, how to connect it in. But honestly, yeah, my calls are more consultations than any type of sales pitch.
So what I think you mentioned one other thing that I at the huge I wanted to re-ask you is about for every 100,000 people you see, how many leads?
Well, if you say 1 million is 100 leads, 100,000 is 10. So a guy in a 500,000 just expect around 50 leads. Now we're trying to add in those display ads to potentially get 50% more leads. So we're potentially thinking that guys that did 50 last year will do 75. Guys that did 75 will do like over 100. So we're really trying to push.
But with the banner ads or display ads, do you think it's going to close? The lead quality will be just as high?
$5,200 house just got closed in Cleveland last week from those AI campaigns. So we've been asking clients for feedback, and it's hit and miss. So basically, someone will say, "Oh, this is a spam lead," and we just like clicks are like $1. They're super cheap, and so I'm like, if you get a spam lead, it costs you $1, honestly. And we'll delete it off the list. But no, one of our clients that got a $5,200 residential house, we tracked it back to that campaign. And another guy told us that most of our leads were higher quality than last year. Like, he had more leads in August than his agency got him all last year. And half his leads were coming from our AI campaigns.
What city was this in?
That one was St. Louis. Yeah, St. Louis is hot for early. Not like long term, it could be different, but St. Louis is a pretty hot market for really early on.
Okay. Gabe is interested. Yeah, if you're in a city where you got over 500,000 people, I would seriously consider doing AdWords. That will jumpstart you. If you don't have a website, even this is news to me because I don't even have a website. So this is talking my language, because I was thinking, man, I gotta call Ryan Domowski and have him build me a website so that way Zeke can run ads to it. But I don't even got to do that this year. I do need to get a better website, but so actually that saves me $3,000 because I don't have to buy a web.
So everyone listening to this is a great tip. Get a website from one of these sites and start SEO in January. We do SEO as well. Guys that do SEO for at least 6 months actually get very similar leads from Google Ads and SEO. So meaning, I'll give an example. We have a guy that actually has 300% more leads from organic than from paid. 300% in
this year.
Oh yeah, this year. He closed $100,000 in business already from organic.
Okay, are you seeing more leads on your SEO this year normally for this time? Is it about even with other years?
More this year. Organic always outpaces ads. The only reason why you guys don't do it is because you guys are like, this is a 1 month season.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out. So, like, I mean, our numbers are up for Christmas lights. Our sales for September are a lot higher than what we'd anticipate because of the bad economy. So I'm just wondering, is a lot of homeowners really actually going and hiring Christmas light installers? Because I think a lot of people actually they want to buy lights from us right after they just sold their first job. So people must be really going online and looking for lights earlier this year than they ever have.
Organic is up. Organic is up big time. Like honestly, we had way more SEO clients for Christmas lights this year. And a lot of guys like they get hesitant on it, but it's like the ranking factors. It's so much easier because no one else is doing it.
But
So
I'm saying,
when people do it, we do so well.
but their leads are up this year for organic,
Yeah.
percentage-wise from previous years. Okay.
Yeah. So leads are up. I mean, growth is always year over year that we look at. But yes, we're up way more in volume. So the guy that did last year 200 leads organically, that was his first year. This is year two. He was at 50 leads year to date at the end of August. And that's the end of August. You know, we're going to hit close to 300 plus leads, honestly, when November hits. That's all organic.
How much he's already got 50 by the end of August, you said?
Yeah, I remember 28 was in July. And then we checked again in August, and it was like 30 something. I didn't have to
Was
pull it
he,
up.
did he have it last year, or he didn't have SEO at
He's been
all?
doing SEO with us since the beginning of last year. He started in January of
Okay.
last year. And when he did ads with us, he only did 50 leads. So then he switched to SEO and he did 200. Now he does ads and SEO with us every year, just get more volume.
Okay, but he did 200 SEO leads last year, and he's already up to 50 in August.
I'm gonna double check this year to date. Let's see. Last 60 days. Let's do last 3 months. Let's see if I can get this to pull up. Let's do organic. Sometimes it gets messed up on my sheet.
I got to start getting a picture behind me like you. What website is that? Did you say again?
So it's NVIDIA Broadcast is an app, and it just removes the background and any video I record. So a lot of my videos I record for YouTube, I just do NVIDIA Broadcast. But organic, it's hard to shoot. It's not showing up. I got to look at sometimes call tracking works better than I trust CallRail over I trust GA4. I don't trust GA4 very well. Let's see, year to date, organic. It's only calls. Let's see, 21 off calls and another 18. Oh, yep, we're getting up to 39. Bing is 40. 41 off organ. Yep, 41. 41. This is the last 3 months. I just clicked last 3 months. And that's off of, and we don't have that in ads yet. That's 41 organic leads.
Right, and so like usually leads, you get like 1 or 2% of your leads in August or this time of year. So they start coming in. If you're getting leads now, you could be pretty confident that by the middle of October, when leads are supposed to come in, you're going to be slammed with a lot of leads.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he just at least 10x of that. So it's 400. Yeah. I mean, in theory, if you're paying for SEO and let's just say you got 200 leads year one, you want to make sure you do more than 200 the following year because you're obviously paying all year long. So, 300 leads, like that's my goal is always to beat last year's numbers. But I hope you can do over 300.
It's getting really long. I just have one last question because so if you have I do have a GMB for my Christmas light contractors, but how often should they took away the GMB profile where you used to make articles and stuff? What do you recommend? Like, should people? How important is reviews to your rankings, or for customers posting photos, or is there anything? What can people consistently do to keep driving their rankings on their GMB?
Traffic to your website, honestly. So traffic through the GMB. So reviews are helpful. Obviously, over 20 is good. The higher your reviews, the higher click-through rate. Anytime you have a high click-through rate, that's going to build relevancy. So reviews and then content on your website. Don't do repetitive content. That's a big no-no in 2024. So don't make 30 city pages. Don't make 30 blogs that all look alike. So unique content. So that means 1,000 words of content, completely unique. 10 headlines, things like that. That builds up your GMB. So if you really want to get more leads from your GMB, it's content through blogs or unique city pages, not repetitive, repeat, copy paste.
You can have city pages on GMB?
No, on your website. So your GMB is ranked from your website. That's a big thing that people don't realize, like how good your website is. So I've seen a knockoff website, as I keep talking about lately, knockoff websites where the GMB doesn't rank. And then I go to a site and I'm like, example, Christmas light installation, Hoover, Alabama. 3 of the top 10 are from 180 sites. And there's no SEO on the site. It's just they rank for Hoover, Alabama, because that's what the city page is on their site. So if you have good content all for one city, you'll rank. Now you need another city. And every time you need to add another city that you want to rank for, you need 3 to 5 pages of content for that city, not just one page. You need multiple pages.
Yeah, that's so yeah.
It's too much work. That's why you got to pay someone to do it.
Right. Back like when I used to get involved in it, it was a whole lot less work. But and what do you say about those guys that are doing their websites now all with AI writing every page? Is that a no or
If you, I mean, it's gonna. I personally make sure it's my team make sure it's under 30%. So if you start with AI, that's for a structure. And then you need people to edit it. The biggest thing is repeat content. That's the biggest issue we see is repeat content. So all those city pages that people did with 30 city pages, all the exact same thing, with just the title's fun. That's no longer valid anymore. You got to get rid of that. Oh,
well?
you
So
can use AI, but it's not gonna just automatically rank just because you have content.
So I have another SEO. I have one SEO that I've hired to do my SEO because you only take 2 people per city, so that's why I had to use them. And they honestly, their page doesn't. They don't do very good with my organic website, but Google Maps they've done incredible with. I would not.
So
I would
one
not recommend
SEO,
them to
I
anyone.
looked at, I have their plan because someone sent it to me.
I would
And
not recommend them. I'm stuck
yeah,
with them now, so
they only do 5 pages optimizations, and you don't get backlinks anymore, or you might get some, but they only do 5 pages. So it can take you a long time, and it's expensive.
I don't know what they do with GMBs, but they have 3 of my GMBs and they all just crush everyone. So they're really good with that, but the actual website it stinks.
But GMBs are related from the website. You don't
Okay.
there's nothing you can do on an actual GMB. It's all website related.
Well, so I asked them, I was like, because at one point we were going to use them for Christmas light contractors for SEO. But the thing is, they got way too many people involved. It's like 100 people work there, so it's really hard to get custom stuff through them. But I asked them, I was like, why do we have companies for Christmas light contractors that like you got some of our big competitors have been around for a lot of years and they just crush it. They used to just crush us on Google. Like they would just rank for everything and like you couldn't find us. But now we're crushing them, especially if it's new stuff, like new kinds of clips, new kinds of stuff. Like
Unique stuff helps.
right, and they end up. I'm sure they're spending tons of SEO and stuff trying to get back to above us, but they can't catch us. And I was asking why is that going on? And they said, well, the thing is, Google is really the last update. So this was the last year. They said that they're slanting everything towards social media, and if you have a ton of social media interaction with your website, that is really what almost ranks it better than all the on-page stuff. Because we have horrible
Social
on-page
signals. They're talking about social signals.
right,
I
right.
don't know. That used to be a big thing. They have
But
social signals,
but
but I don't know.
if you look at our website, we have horrible on-page everything, but we're crushing everyone in our industry, and it's because we just have an amazing social media presence. And so we have 0 on-page. We've never paid
So
for
what you
SEO.
have is a high traffic. So Google sees high traffic. Why do you think Amazon, Facebook, Yelp, and all those guys rank very high? So if the customer is on that website, Google sees that traffic. The higher the traffic to your website, the higher you will rank.
Really? Okay. So we have horrible on-page, but we don't really need SEO because we're doing so well without it.
Traffic. You have high traffic. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, well, I'll let you get back with your family tonight. I learned a whole lot, but I just feel more confident I need to hire you. So that's mostly what.
Go fill that form out tonight.
Well, everything you're speaking is just like, man, in another life, I would try to figure out how to pinch pennies and do it all myself. But
You will save. Oh, just to give an idea, most people think that too. Because we save people over 50% and our services cost less than 50% on there, you'll end up saving more money and getting more leads. Does AI, for example, website or using AI a lot affects me? We're not completely sure. Someone has said before that George Mueller for Google's search team, he has said that you potentially should have content that's written that's, I think it's like quality for the user. So he basically says it's better to put in all these things are popping up for me. It's better to have content that people will stick around to read than to just have any content. So if your AI content makes people stick around, it's quality, it's actually legit and not just gibberish, it's still okay. Google hasn't said no to it. as of right now. Another question. When it comes to yard signs, I hear you say 200 signs for $400. Can you show us these signs in hand so we get an idea how big they are and grab us? Okay. And how to install them. You want everything. 18 by 24. Make them vertical. Put your name at the top. Put Christmas light installation. Then put your phone number. That's it. Or put we hang Christmas lights. You can get 100 signs for $379 from Pack Ease. They just went up yesterday. It was $190. Technically on Pack Ease's website, you can get them for $299 for 100, but you have to hit subscribe, and then it says you can stop them and pause them or cancel. So technically, you could do it for September, October, November, or just cancel it after you buy 2 or 3 batches of it. So you could technically get 200 signs for that'd be $600.
So I think we have a deal that you can get them on our site. It's like multiple color and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So higher end signs, I forget what they are, but I think they end up being $350 a sign if you buy like 500 or 400. We did a group discount with 72 hours print, and you can go to them directly if you want, but you're not going to get the same quality sign that we have as a group discount.
Gotcha.
But what it does is it ends up putting their phone number on the sign, and you can't customize it. It just has your company name.
It's their phone number.
So what they do is they order on our site, and then so it's like a really nice looking sign, and then it comes with the stand also, because the stands actually cost money too. But then the only thing is you change your phone number and your company name on everything else. Is exactly the same. But yeah, I mean, what you're saying is probably going to be almost just as cheap. The signs may not be quite as well, but we sell a lot of them. People buy a lot of them from our site.
Yeah, I mean, people just want simplicity on it. $350 is still a good price because now Pack Ease, it's Pack Easy E. They went up to $379. So honestly, it's just a great way to get people in for
yard signs. Yard signs is your cheapest way. It will get you jobs. Don't expect yard signs to work very well though until October, November. So if you go put 200 yard signs out now, I would not expect your phone to go crazy.
Yeah, I would save, if you order 100, I'd save 25 for your installs because that's like the best billboard you can have behind a sign. I'd probably put out 100. Stands. No, so Pack Ease is 100 sign. It's the sign, the stake, and everything, and shipping, all for $379. But yeah, if you put it out like maybe 25 in October, I would say hit all of your major intersections with a stop sign, and then closer to November, start hitting the neighborhoods. Get a little bit closer.
Okay. All right. I actually I accidentally clicked it. Okay, there we go. I was gonna put our link to the signs. I don't really care.
Oh yeah, you can. I can throw that in there.
Honestly, we don't really make any money on the signs. We just do it as a service for the. We might make a tiny bit, but we mostly do it as a service for the people in our group. Because a high quality sign, you will get a little bit more calls than just buying a 2-color sign.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, just like we have Zeke on here, we don't get paid a penny to promote Zeke, but we do know anyone that hires him is going to end up doing well, and they'll buy more.
And they buy from you.
They buy more likes from us when their business is doing good. So, all right. Well, it's so late, so I really gotta let you go. I will say Christmas lights is just going crazy for this. It's too early to be this busy, but yeah, it's I would say Christmas light season is pretty much in full swing for me. And anyone that's advertising is starting to experience a pretty big uptick in lead flow and putting out your estimates, getting your systems in place, getting people trained. I'd highly recommend doing something for advertisement. It is pretty much go time now for Christmas light season.
Exactly. Reach out, fill out that form, then book a call. Step 1's form. Step 2 will get you to the call. And then once you have that call, we'll then send you a contract and we'll get you set up within 48 hours. And should be good from there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Zeke, for your time.